So here are our objectives for today. By the end of the session, we want you to know and understand some of the challenging behaviors we're dealing with and how the school responds to them. We want you to hear and know the vision we have for the children at our school. And then we want to provide some supports for you as parents and to let you know what's out there in the community so that you can support your children in being the best version of themselves while they're here at school. So I'm just going to keep going so that we can honor your time. TPES now and then. We are a primary school that in the past, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once every 3 weeks, we had an act of physical aggression. We are not in that space anymore. Things are very different. We have had more than 2.5 times the normal referrals this school year to date than we've had all of the 2018-2019 school year. The reason we compared our school years to 2018-2019 is that's the last full school year before COVID. The level and number of acts of physical aggression are 3 times as many. The amount of teasing has increased significantly. Our children are telling us something, and I want us to be careful about listening and responding so that we can help them. Some of the things that we're doing that you're probably wondering, well, what's the school doing? We do things like Caught Being Good, where I may stand in the hallway with stickers, and when children are showing the appropriate behavior, I give them a sticker. Teachers are using individual class jars and doing positive reinforcements. We have weekly guidance lessons. That means every week a guidance counselor goes into your child's classroom and delivers a lesson on character education. We're also using the Leader in Me series, which is a Stephen Covey series that works to impact the children, to teach them to be leaders, to teach them to be proactive, to teach them to problem solve and other things of that nature. They are planned lessons that the guidance counselors have. It's a county-wide program this year. It is going away next year. However, it is a curriculum that the guidance counselors have been using. We have class meetings with the administrators. Once a semester, I go into every classroom. Haven't gotten there this semester yet because I can't get out of the office due to office referrals. But we have class meetings to talk about our school rules, to talk about being responsible, being respectful, being kind. There have been guidance lessons on bullying. I have a space patrol program that many children are involved with. There are about 25 kids, and I think earlier this week, we decided to add 2 more. And it's a program of positive reinforcement where children have a behavior contract with their teacher. They come see me at the end of each day, and they are held accountable for their behavior, and they're given prizes and rewards. If you've been in the office, you may have seen the large space shuttle on the wall with little astronauts posted. And based on their level of success, that's where the children's astronauts are. We have individual parent meetings all the time. We call parents all the time. In 2018-19, if there was a situation, I would call each parent of every child involved. I would also call the parents of the witnesses and the parents of people who might be impacted as a result of what happened. This year, because of the level and number of issues, I can only call the parents of the kids who are directly involved, unfortunately. And that leaves a hole for those other parents. We use restorative justice moves as an elementary school with little kids. And what is restorative justice? Restorative justice is the practice of repairing harm. If a child does something to injure or harm the environment, the educational environment, another child or an adult, this is the act of helping them to understand what they've done, talking through how they felt and how the other person might feel, and what they can do to make it better. For example, we had a bunch of children who were teasing and name calling. So they talked with me for a few minutes. We talked about the impact it had on our school environment. Their task the next recess was to create posters of kindness and post them around the school. They had to restore the harm they put in the environment by putting positive things into the environment. Restorative justice is a big movement, but we have 4 through 8-year-olds, so it's not that big for us. It is very basic with understanding what they've done, what they could have done differently, and how they can help repair the harm that they've caused. So this is the part where we talk about where we want to go, what we want. Why are you here? We need to create a safe space for all children. And right now, we have pockets of safe spaces. We do not have the TPES of 2018-19. For those of you who know, I've been here 20 years. This year, I'm raising a red flag to say we need to do something different. We need to do something better. And it's my hope that you as parents will work with me so that kids have uninterrupted instruction. There's not kids throwing chairs. There aren't kids name calling. There aren't kids afraid to take risks because somebody in the classroom might be impacted and do something. We don't want kids to tear apart the building or the artwork that's hanging. So we want it to be pleasing and comforting. And most of all, we want the kids to be at peace. We want them to be okay. And many of our children are showing us that they are not okay. The levels of dysregulation in our building are very high. That means kids get big feelings and they can't always pull it back when they're having big feelings. And we want to empower the children to lead in positive directions. These are the goals and the reason we're here. We got to do this together. It can't just be the school. It has to be all of us pitching in to make sure we create an environment that is positive and safe for all children. We also must remember to send the same messages at home. Our staff is ready to do the work, and it is my hope that after tonight's meeting, you will also saddle up with us and help us to do the work.
Are you ready for me to chime in?
I'm sorry, yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. So let's back up a slide, and I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Jody Chessman. I am the Behavior Intervention Specialist for Montgomery County Public Schools. And my role is supporting students and teaching teachers how to manage and navigate challenging behaviors. And I've also done a number of trainings for families. And so I'm really happy to have the opportunity to speak with the Tacoma Park Elementary School families tonight. I saw a comment in the chat, and you're absolutely right on. What we're seeing happening with our kids, and I need to be real clear, it's not just at Tacoma Park Elementary School. As I said, I do what I do for the whole school system, and I hear from principals and teachers every day about a different level, a different intensity of behaviors than what we saw in 2018-19. And so we are absolutely dealing with children and adults, because we're in it too, who are feeling the effects and still managing you can go to the slide before, and still managing coming out of this pandemic and the isolation and the lack of instruction and the lack of consistency. I mean, you have some of your children who are in school who missed really, I'm going to say really critical years. I don't know which years are not critical, right? They're all significant. We can keep the slide right here till I'm moving on. Thank you. So, we have kids who are in school, but missed kindergarten and missed some of those foundational, not just foundational of how to be in school, but how to be, right? How to say, I'm upset, how to say I'm angry. And we also know as parents, I have 2 children, as parents, we know that our kids are not born knowing all of these things. I learned very quickly that my children were not born knowing how to navigate social situations or how to navigate when they're feeling upset or have feelings and emotions beyond what's kind of happy playtime. When it's heavier or bigger feelings and emotions, our kids they don't just come equipped on how to deal with that. So, as Dr. Getson was saying, we need to partner. We need to all work together, which means the children need to be getting support at school. And Dr. Getson went over many of the things that are happening on a daily basis. And in addition, I'm here to talk about some things where our parents can come in and be partners with us, and some little ideas and strategies to help you help your children have a more positive school experience. Some of you on here, this may be news to you. Some of the challenges that the school's having this year. For some of you on here, you may be you might be talking to the principal every week. So we know there's a spectrum, but there's some things that we can do, some best practices, parenting best practices that may help our children have more positive days and feel positive about school. So I'm going to talk a little bit about things that you can do at home before your child comes to school, things that you can do, excuse me, if you're called by the school, something during the school day. And then I'm going to talk about things after school. And some of this is just raising our awareness. And as parents, many of us are working parents or just juggling many children or, whatever it might be. But if we can choose to be more purposeful about how we interact with our kids, what we say, when we say it, then we are going to see a different result. Just to clarify, I am the behavior intervention specialist for Montgomery County Public Schools. I work under the Department of Special Education Services, but my role is really designed to support and train all teachers and staff throughout the county and also working with parents. So let's move to the next slide, please. And we're going to begin with thinking about how you can help your child before school. Excuse me. It's really important that we remember that our kids are watching everything. And, when I work with parents, I probably often share things that are not my proudest parenting moment, not my proudest parenting moments. But I know when I'm at a store and I'm working with the person checking me out, my child is watching me. They're looking to see if I'm friendly or if I'm not friendly. I know that when I've had a rough day, my child's watching to see how am I managing that? What am I doing? I've said to my kids, I need a minute. I'm going to go take a quiet minute to myself. Because I know they're watching. So when we talk about modeling, it's really being aware that your child is looking at what you're doing and looking at how you're managing or navigating situations. Sometimes it is helpful to almost think out loud. To almost think out loud so your child hears your thinking. Like instead of me just walking away and going to my room for a minute, I said to my children, I'm a little frustrated. I need a couple quiet minutes. So I'm going upstairs to take some deep breaths. And so I then excused myself. But modeling your thinking helps children understand and make the connection for when they might be feeling the same way. Let's go to the next slide, please. Another thing we can do is set expectations. We need to make sure when we're setting expectations that we do it in a positive way, not in a threatening way. This is really when we can state to our child, I hope you have a great day in school today. Remember, I expect you to have safe hands and a safe body. I expect you to learn a lot today, have a lot of fun, and make good choices. So there are ways that you can set your expectations. It may be a conversation over breakfast. It might be something that you say to your child when you're walking out to the bus. It could even be something you say the night before. Tomorrow's a busy morning, so I want to remember to tell you, I expect you to have a really great day, and I expect you to make safe choices and do great learning all day. Something like that, so that we're setting that expectation right off the bat. Can you go to the next slide, please? Another piece that we can do ahead of time is talk about positive consequences. And I use that word purposely. Very often when we hear the word consequences, we are thinking negative. But I want to remind you that there absolutely is positive consequences. We all have them. We have positive consequences to things that we do. When I work, I get a paycheck. That's my positive consequence. So when kids do good things, especially our little guys who don't have it internal quite yet, when they do positive things, we want to point out these are the positive consequences that are going to happen. These are the positive things that are going to happen. So when you come home and I hear from your teacher that you had a great, safe day today, then we're going to have ice cream. Or then we are going to watch a show together. Or then we are going to play a game together. When you come home and tell me about your great day, it's going to make me so happy. And sometimes for some of our kids, that's enough. Sometimes talking about that special time together or an activity that's going to positively reinforce their good behavior choice is just what some students need. Let's talk a little bit about positive reinforcement. I think that's my next slide. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. Okay. So a couple things that I just want to share with you. Some of our kids, and again, especially our little guys who this is new to, social stories are a great way to teach some lessons or at home to reinforce. So it might be, and these are, I shared this when I did a presentation with parents around behaviors that working with behaviors at home. And that's not really our focus today, but you can get the idea. A social story is a story that you read that talks through a situation. And I would refer you to your guidance counselor for resources on that. But a social story might talk about a little girl who had big feelings, and how she talks to her teacher when she has big feelings, and how she uses safe strategies when she has big feelings. So that's one resource that you could use. Can we go to the next slide? Another one is a token economy. I remember doing this with my kids, I think when we were potty training, when there is a desired outcome, a desired thing you are looking for, and then the child is working for something. The token economy is where you reinforce little things at a time for them to earn something. So I am a big proponent of children earning things. I don't just buy things. I think they sometimes need to earn things. That's a great thing for you to use if your child might be having difficulty making safe choices at school. And you're saying every day that you have a safe day, you're going to get a star. And after 5 stars, we're going to take a trip to the dollar store. I don't know. That was something my kids liked. But, it could be anything that is reinforcing to the child. Let's go to the next slide, please. Also, sometimes having rule cards or a poster or a sign of the rules, and to go over them with your child before school. I think it's important for kids to know it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. But when I'm angry or upset, I don't hurt others. I don't hurt myself. I don't hurt property. However, whatever is appropriate for your child, but having some sort of a rules card is a good visual reminder for children, and it can help you set their day up for success. Can we go to the next slide, please? So when we think about during the school day, and if we have a student who's having a rough day or, is going through something, the staff are using all of their skills and strategies to help and to navigate that. And sometimes one of the things that may help is calling and talking to a parent. And this is where the school and home partnership is so important. And making sure that we're getting the whole story, and that as parents, we're listening and we're hearing, whether it's from the principal or a teacher, to get the whole story, to get all of the information. Sometimes when I was working, okay, tell me if I go out. I just saw an internet issue. When I was at a school, we had some students just talking to the parent during their day helped bring them down, help them refocus. And So if you are called during the day, have a positive conversation with your child. Reinforce the idea of making good choices and being safe. And look at the school staff as a partner. Okay, I hear my daughter did this. How can we support at home? And really finding that partnership, I think will absolutely help the child so that they're hearing that same support and that same messaging both at home and at school. Can we go to the next slide, please? So let's talk a little bit about what happens after school. How are we supporting our children after school? I just need to check real quick. So when we talk about positive reinforcement, what that means, we're going to get into some details about reinforcement, but we know when your child's having a good day and has made good choices, we want to reinforce that positive, especially at a young age. We want children to start to connect that positive feeling and that positive reinforcement or reward with the behavior, with making good choices. I'm a big proponent of natural consequences. I had my child many years ago, probably when he was about first grade, was climbing on the coffee table. And I said to him, you shouldn't be on the coffee table. We don't climb on the coffee table. Get off the coffee table. And sure enough, he slipped and fell and had a pretty significant accident. And we talked about that's a natural consequence of doing something you weren't supposed to do. And I didn't, of course I kissed, I made it all better, we helped. But we talked about that when we do things we're not supposed to do, sometimes things happen that we don't like. And so letting our children sometimes experience natural consequences helps teach that lesson. So we're reinforcing positive things. We're letting natural consequences happen. The other piece is making sure when we're responding to a behavior, or you're responding to the message you got from the principal or from a teacher, that it's reasonable and proportionate. I had a friend who said to her child, if this happens again, you're not going to have the iPad for the whole summer. Well, it's just May now, and I know there's no way that's really going to happen. And I know that parent, and there's no way that they're going to be able to keep that away from their child. So please make sure when we're talking about responses that they're reasonable and they're proportionate. We're still talking about young children, and they need immediate responses to their behaviors. The other piece is we want to make sure that we're not doing anything that negatively reinforces something. So an example is if my child made some bad choices at school and I needed to come pick them up. And so I pick them up from school and I tell them, I love you. I'm not happy with the choices you made today, but I love you, but we have to go home now. I need to make sure that anything I do after that does not reinforce the behavior. So if I pick my child up from school for something negative, I can't stop at McDonald's on the way home, right? I'm not going to stop and get them a Happy Meal when I just had to pick them up from school. Okay, so we want to make sure we don't do anything that in their little heads that they're thinking, oh, but if mommy picks me up, then I'm going to get this positive thing. Okay, so we need to make sure we're clear on that for our students, for our children. Can we go to the next slide, please? So when we talk about rewarding behaviors, rewarding a child for making good choices, appropriate choices, there's tons of different things. And what is rewarding to your child is going to be different than what's rewarding to my child or my neighbor's child. So you really need to know what's rewarding for your child. I knew that for one of my children, Legos, even just a few pieces of Legos were rewarding. For another child, it was books or a trip to the library. So different kids have different things. So you need to know what's rewarding or reinforcing for your child. For some kids, just your praise, just you saying, what a great, I'm so proud of you. High five, give me a big hug. For some, that's enough. For some kids, you put a star on the calendar. That makes them feel really good because that was a good day. For some kids, rewarding is having a little bit more choice or autonomy. I remember we would have choice dinners and it was, I had a child who might have been working on something, and when they were making good choices, they got to choose what we have for dinner on Friday. That was exciting. For some kids, edibles can be reinforcing, and sometimes that's a special snack. Sometimes it's we've had a great week, we're going for ice cream, or we're gonna, make hamburgers together. So, I don't know, but something that's just another way that we can reinforce things with our children. Can you go to the next slide? So, real important when we're thinking about reinforcing positive behaviors, reinforcing positive days, safe days, you want to make sure that we're really being mindful about when we're reinforcing. I want to make sure that it's immediate, it's connected, and then I'm using language so that the child can connect the reinforcement and the behavior. So that's really important for our kids. So I want to make sure that if I want to reinforce the behavior, I'm not doing it 2 days later. So being purposeful, thinking about it, planning about it. As I talked about earlier, we want to avoid any accidental positive reinforcement. I don't want to reinforce my child when I shouldn't. I don't want to reinforce them when they made a poor choice. I want to make sure that's clear. And we talked about finding something that's motivating for your child. I have not been able to monitor the chat at all while I'm talking. Okay, and I'm gonna pause here because I know we're gonna get into some discussion about resources. And I just want to take a quick look in the chat to see, and some of the things I'm seeing are absolutely correct, that what we are experiencing in Montgomery County Public Schools with the behaviors from children, our young children, as young as our PEP programs, all the way through our high school programs, it is absolutely a nationwide trend. It is things that we are seeing. It's things that we are seeing across the board, and we are not unique, unfortunately.
And so, are we ready for me, Jody?
Yeah, I just didn't know before the chat gets too deep. I was just taking a quick look and I don't know. Um, it seems like some people had shared some resources in there, which is
Yes.
wonderful, a meditation group. I mean, and we're behind the eight ball as a society, trying to give our kids some of these skills and strategies. Because this is so difficult after this, unprecedented pandemic.
Exactly.
And I see the comment about support. I'm so glad that you guys are looking to how can we support the leadership and the teachers, and that's wonderful. I hope that I'm sure that there's been things for Teacher Appreciation Week, and the truth is, it is exhausting. I talk to teachers every day who are giving their heart and their soul to these kids and helping and wanting them to be successful. But no, everybody's human. And I think that's the piece we need to always remember, is that we're all human. We're all dealing with things and our own things in different ways. And that's just important to keep in mind. Okay. And, yes, I talk about this in many of my trainings, right? It's not just the pandemic, it's society. It's the political culture. Yes, there's so much going on. And the truth is, being mindful that our kids feel it too. Our little guys may not know everything that's going on, but they feel it and they feel our stress. I know, the kids feel it when we're stressed and we're worried and we're concerned about things. So absolutely, I appreciate you letting me take a minute to just look through the chat a little bit before we move on for resources. Danielle, I will absolutely pass it over to you, and we'll move on to resources available.
And yes, Jody, there were a couple of questions about more strategy. So near the end, we can go back and kind of address those as well. So wanted to just say thank you for this opportunity to be here. Again, my name is Danielle Wilson-Sadler, and I am the Family Engagement Specialist for MCPS. I have the wonderful pleasure of working with our parent community coordinators. We have about 55 of them, and they are the conduits and the liaisons to schools, and they just partner with our parents to ensure that they have what they need to support the well-being and academic progress of our students. And so first, before I go into more of our internal resources and our external or outside resources, I'd like to introduce to you your very own parent community coordinator at Tacoma Park Elementary School, Ms. Faye Navavian, and she's going to just kind of speak to her role and how she can support you.
Good evening. Thank you, Danielle. So my name is Farzaneh Nabavian. I also go by Faye Nabavian. I'm so glad to be a part of this conversation tonight. This year is my first year having Tacoma Park Elementary School as one of the schools that I serve. I currently serve Montgomery Blair High School, Tacoma Park Middle School, and also Tacoma Park Elementary School. And it's a pleasure to be here. My role as a parent community coordinator is basically to assist you and your child to navigate through the system, to provide resources that you may need or communicate with the administration and the school staff. So you can reach out to me and I will be able to actually find out who you need to talk to if you are not sure where to go, who to talk to, what to do, and I can match you up with the correct person to communicate with. So my role is to be like a bridge between you and the school, but I'm also working with the school and you. So we are all part of the same team. and it works greatly in every level, in high school, in middle school, and in elementary school. So I do visit the schools. If you ever want to chat with me, or if you want to call me, I can put my contact information for my cell phone and my email. You can always email me, text me, call me. I do have all that ways of communication. It doesn't matter what language you speak with. You can text me in any language you like, and I respond back to you. Not that I know all of them, but I do use Google Translator. So I just wanted to make sure that you are familiar with who I am, and I would love to meet many of you on our next, hopefully, meetings that we have, or next year when we have at the beginning of the school year. Again, thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting all of you. And please feel free to contact me for any questions. I work closely with the principal and the assistant principal and your counselor at Tacoma Park Elementary School. And we also have many resources that I will provide to the school, to the students and families for their well-being as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Faye. And if you would just remember to drop your contact information in the chat for our families, because many of them have requested your information. So with that being said, I just wanted to share with you another internal resource that we have, and that is the Parent Academy to Go. I am the program lead for the Parent Academy to Go. And so just wanted to share with you what it is. So essentially we are a program that provides workshops and resources to our families. The workshops that we provide normally take place from 6 to 7 p.m. They are virtual. And essentially, they are here as a support for you, our family. And so with that, someone in the chat mentioned that mindfulness or meditation, they mentioned meditation as one of the strategies to kind of support our students as we move forward. We're offering a workshop on mindfulness on May 15th. We partner with the Parent Education Program, Parent Encouragement Program. It is a nonprofit within the county that essentially provides additional workshops and resources for families. And they focus mainly on parenting skills. And so we're offering a workshop with them on May 25th. And finally, we have a series of active parenting workshops. And if you're wondering, so I didn't know anything about this resource, all you do is you go to our MCPS website, put in Parent Academy in the search engine, and you can look it up. I also put a link in the chat to our Parent Academy to Go. And I wanted to let you know that we have a spring, we have a fall, we have a winter session. And essentially, you can go ahead and pre-register for the workshops. And if you prefer not to, you don't have to. We will. It's good that you do so, because we have to provide you with the link. But nonetheless, we're just excited about the Parent Academy to Go and the resources that we offer. We've been in existence for about 15 years with MCPS. We started as a platform where we were in person, but now we're virtual. And we are planning to do some of our larger types of workshops, such as our Summer Opportunities Fair. You might have heard about that. We used to offer that over at Rockville, in Rockville. And then there's just a number of other offerings. But I just wanted to kind of give you an idea as to the Parent Academy to Go, because that is definitely a resource. Another resource that we have within MCPS is our Community Resources Guide. And it has just a number of resources within the community, whether it's food, whether you need a mental health resource, whether you just need child care. It is a resource that our parent community coordinators, such as Ms. Faye Navavian, uses in many instances, but we also share it with our parents, because we MCPS staff have put it together to make sure that it really meets the needs of our families in terms of just providing supports in the community. One more thing that I wanted to share with you is in terms of our internal resources, if you would, Dr. Gaskin, if you would click on that first link under Office of School Support and Wellbeing, and then if you would scroll all the way down to the bottom, almost near to the bottom of it, because I wanted to share with our families right here. So right here, if you go on our website, and if you scroll up just a little bit more, Dr. Gasson, that would be great. Thank you so much. Yeah, keep going, just a little bit more, just a little one. Okay, right there is perfect. So you see that we are under the umbrella of the Office of School Support and Wellbeing. And so our umbrella is really focused on ensuring that our families and most importantly, our students' well-being is intact. So there are a number of resources that we offer in terms of just student mental health and wellness. And many of those resources there are also there as, as a resource for you, our families as well. We also, you can see in the family supports, we talked about the parent community coordinators. And then if you scroll down some more, we've got the community resource guide. We've got other types of programs that are within the schools that support our families in their needs as well. In terms of outside resources, if you would now scroll, go ahead and go to our next slide, Dr. Gatson, I'd appreciate that. We have a number of outside resources for parents that we've put together. Two organizations that are, one that I already mentioned was the Parent Encouragement Program, and that's in Montgomery County. And it is a program, an excellent resource for families. And they do have a minimal charge for workshops, but nonetheless, I think they also have they offer free workshops. I know that they offer free workshops as well. And then too, we offer another resource that is within Montgomery County is our Every Mind. And Every Mind essentially provides mental health services, free mental health services to families. You basically just can go to their website, and I'll provide that link in the chat once I'm done, because that is another means of a resource that can support you, our families, as well as our students. We have a number of resources, and I want you to know that we, the Office of Student, Family, and School Services, are here to support you, our families. As Ms. Navavian said, we are here to break down those barriers in terms of language. We are here in terms of breaking down those barriers of, any barriers that prevent you from really engaging with the schoolhouse to assist your children. So with that being said, I will also put my information in the chat, because if we don't have the answer, certainly we will assist you in finding it. I appreciate this opportunity to be with you all. Know that we, Student, Family, and School Services, are a support, and we are here for you, our families. We, as Dr. Gatson and as Ms. Chessman said, yes, we've got lots of families that are just in need of supports and services. We are here to help you all. So thank you so much. We appreciate being here.